Cool. I'm just gonna fade us in. Hey, oh, you're really small. Why are you really small?
There we go. Oh, I'm really small.
Let me sort that out. Where am I? There we are. So
Audio sounds like it's working as well,
cool.
by the way.
So weird. Why are you so small? Oh dear.
Yeah, audio is fine. So go for it whenever.
Cool. I'm just gonna get this right and then put that on. Let's have a look. How are we doing? Be a bit of delay probably, but there we go.
There we go.
You're up to size.
Yeah.
Well. How's your audio? Let me have a look at your audio. Yeah, you're there.
Sounded all right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Brilliant.
We are good to go. Let me just find my chat box.
Woo.
And we are good to go. Welcome to Flag on the Play.
Woo. Yeah.
Do the dance. Do the dance. Hey, Matt.
Yes.
We're face camming.
Yeah.
These are our faces.
Hello.
Yeah, we're working some new things out, trying some different things. This is my new microphone. I'm very happy with my new microphone.
Yeah.
And
sounds nice.
Thank you. And so yeah, we're gonna try and do more of just some chatting because not much football is being played. Well, I say not much. We do have something to talk about. Have you seen the fan-controlled football league? Oh, Tori, you've been able to make it. That's good to see you.
I actually haven't, but I heard that Tim Tebow was back in playing.
Is he playing? I didn't realize he was playing.
I think it was Tim Tebow.
Oh, I've got to look this up now.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Gets the phone out.
Oh no, was it Tim Tebow or was it
Marshall Lynch is potentially the person you're thinking of.
Don't think it was.
Let's have a look. I'm going to assume. Oh, as in he's playing.
Sorry, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel, that's it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
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 Owners for the teams include football stars Richard Sherman, Marshall Lynch, Austin Eckler, rapper Quavo. Got some guys from 2K, from the WNBA, from MLB.
Watching it, I've watched some of the highlights as well. It's a really interesting concept, and I don't hate it as well. And I looked up online. You can become part owner of the team for about $150. And it's such a unique concept. So just like, I need to explain actually, because it's new to me as well. It's new to everyone. It started the season. So what I'm talking about, there's a new league out called the Fan Controlled Football League. And there's only 4 teams in it at the moment. They're all owned by sports stars, past and present, and some non-sports stars. So the people we just listed, Marshall Lynch, Richard. There we go. My computer just crashed for a second. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
So sorry, as brilliant. I was saying, team owners, sports stars like Richard Sherman and
Marshall Lynch.
Marshall Lynch. Like I said,
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler. Yeah. Don't know if anyone knows who Quavo is. He was in Madden 20. I think that's the most I know about Quavo.
Yeah, pretty much as well.
But
you want to know the names of the teams? It's quite funny.
Yeah,
So you've got the Glacier Boys.
Yeah,
boys
I love
with
that.
A Z.
Yeah, and their logo is a polar
the
bear.
Zappers, the Beasts, and Wild Aces.
Yeah, they and the uniforms are really sick. Like, I love the uniforms. I think they look really cool. Yeah, has the bugginess gone? So my computer crashed for a second. Hopefully it's fixed itself now.
No, it's sounding all right on my end,
cool.
I think.
Hopefully that's fixed itself. Oh, my bit rate's all over the place. Oh well. We shall push it through. Sorry, yeah. So that's what Sam was talking about. The players are Johnny Manziel, who was big in college, played a little bit in the NFL. He's there, and that's so cool. Marshawn Lynch wanted to play. I don't think he did play in the end, but there aren't any other than Johnny Manziel. I don't think there are any other massive names.
There's a couple of names. So Quinton Flowers.
Yeah. Okay.
And DeAndre Francois.
I've heard their names. I think they were XFL sort of players.
They might have been.
So people might recognize their names.
Flowers had promise in the XFL, and Francois was a star at Florida State.
Okay. Oh yeah. So it's a really interesting concept, and I wonder if it will work quite well. So a lot of problems that football leagues have is money. Kind of trying to maintain a league. The NFL has spent decades getting to the place where it is, and so this idea of fans owning teams, but then being able to control what actually goes on the field as well, is a really, really clever idea. And I wonder whether this engagement with the teams. So there's only 4 teams at the moment. I think that's really smart as well, because you're not paying loads and loads of teams. I wonder if this idea, starting small and growing, will grow into a bigger thing and actually end up becoming like a B league for the NFL. Like would be really interesting. We say that about every league that tries to start up after the NFL. We're like, oh yeah, it will become another idea. But I think this one, the XFL and the Alliance, which are the 2 latest ones to have a go at it, they both suffered with money issues. And I think that's because you are attempting to start a football league from scratch. Kind of completely from scratch.
Yes, you have to kind of build it up.
Yeah.
From the bottom. You can't just go in and go, we've now got a fully kind of like 16, 32 team league. I mean, the NFL started with 2.
Yeah. And that's why I think this league is making steps in the right direction. It's kind of going, well, we're only starting with 4 teams. We're not going beyond that. Every team has at least a couple of owners, if not kind of 3. And also you can, because of this, it's called the fan controlled league. Because of this fan engagement, $150 isn't a ridiculous amount of money. Like it's it's an investment, and I think that's right. It's an investment into a team. But in terms of kind of owning part of a team, that's not ridiculous at all. And the reason it's called the fan-controlled league is because as a fan, you get to vote on which team you want your play to run in the moment, which is such a cool concept. I haven't figured out how it works. I'm going to try and keep up to date on it because I think it's really interesting. But I agree, Matt. The NFL is really dominant, but I think fans are calling for more football because we've got to wait now. This is kind of the sad thing. We've now got to wait till beginning of August to see some
September.
See some football. That's 6.5 months. I think it will collapse after 3 years. I think, and Rich, absolutely, Matt. I think that's why these leagues fail.
That's what's good about this league, though, is it seems to be more about the fans collaborating for it, and it looks like they're trying to keep costs down.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
And I think the fan control element, I think, will be what keeps it alive.
Here's a fun fact. So on Twitch and in the Fan Control Football app, you'll see a run or pass when your team is on offense. Pick one, and you'll see 4 diagrammed play options. Lock in your favorite, get notified which play won the vote, and watch the play unfold on the field in real time. Which is really awesome. So cool. Here's another fun thing. If you're really good at calling plays or drafting players, then your fan IQ score goes up. As you hit certain targets, you'll level up your fan IQ, and that increases your voting power, causing your votes to count for more. So if you're like really dedicated, or you can make your decisions count if you're good at those decisions.
That's so cool.
Which is awesome.
and it's also the thing I enjoyed. So I've watched some of the highlights. I didn't actually watch the games. The thing I've really enjoyed about watching it is it's so different. So the XFL sort of came in and we're going to try something different with our kickoffs. We're going to try these different things. This is completely different. This is smaller teams, smaller pitch. There's no kicking whatsoever. Like they do rock, paper, scissors for the kickoff, which team starts with the ball. The extra points are one-on-one matchups. And I love that. I think that's so cool. That's, just compare the NFL to like Premier League. I think I'm not kind of a finance guy. I don't understand finances and all of that. So I don't understand kind of all the difficulty in the money and stuff. But you think about football. Premier League, stuff like that, that runs August to May. So you've got a really short bit of time in between. And even then, we have competitions like the European Championship, the World Cup, things like that, to keep fans engaged during that time when it's not on. Yes, you need to give players a rest, absolutely. Kind of no contest there. It's just, like we've said, I don't know if we've had this conversation on here before, or whether we've just had it, is that at the end of the day, sport is entertainment. There's two big features to sport. One is about kind of being better human beings, and kind of in terms of physical fitness and role models and all of that. But the other big element to it is entertainment. And if your sports league is only going on for like 4 or 5 months, it's amazing that the NFL has as much as it does because it's so short. But maybe that fits into the whole American culture, which we don't understand. I don't know. I'd love to know kind of any American watchers. What do you do when the NFL's not on? Do you just go and watch other sports? I think like ice hockey and baseball happens in between. I don't know.
I mean, for us, it always seems like there's this kind of like couple of month period until the draft happens, and then another couple of months after that, in which just nothing really happens, and we're just waiting on little snippets of news to come out from all these teams.
Yeah, and like, so I'm really wishing for another league. I really enjoyed the Alliance. I enjoyed the XFL.
The XFL was really cool.
So I really am hoping that they find a B league. But I think you're right, Matt. Talking about business owners, it is a risk in these sorts of projects because you've got to try and start something from scratch. And like you say, the NFL started with 2 teams and built from there. And it's kind of like, and you think about where it is now, but how long has it been like it is? So we had the Super Bowl, which is between the which was the NFL and the AFL at the time. Yeah. And that's only been...
So there were a total of 24 teams at that point.
Yeah. And we've only had 55 of those. And I say 55 like that's a small number. But what I mean more is...
There's one every year.
Yeah. It's like all the British fans kind of not understanding. I say not understanding. Not feeling baseball or cricket. I get you.
No, neither.
The
one thing cricket's good for, in my opinion, is getting in the stands as a fan and just shouting
that's
kind of the one big takeaway I've got from
I think that's probably
cricket.
one of the complaints I have about kind of televising sport, and I keep coming back to this as a topic. If sport is entertainment, it should be fun to watch. And we were talking about this with TV timeouts. Yeah. How is television allowed to choose kind of interrupt a game as much as it does in the NFL to prolong the amount of timeouts? It's just frustrating. We'll say that much.
Yeah. So I'm not sure I've spoken about this on stream, but I've definitely ran a couple of group chats. I was looking through the rule book and I found this rule that says every timeout called is a 30-second timeout only if the number of ad breaks in a quarter has been reached, or there's like a certain number of ad breaks in a quarter that these companies or that broadcasters allow. And so every time out after they've had the dedicated number of ad breaks, in a quarter, every time out will then be 30 seconds when it's usually like then 2 minutes or something, or a minute or whatever.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
So it's a really weird that the length of the timeout is defined by how many ad breaks you've already had in that game.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of sponsoring that goes on in the NFL, which is sort of bizarre to us Brits because we have nowhere near that level of sponsorship. At least not in advertisement. We kind of this throw is sponsored by State Farm. It does feel like that sometimes. It really does, Matt. Like it's so like I was trying to think in the Brit. For us, we have. I guess this is probably how the Brits get away with it. They have sponsors on the shirts, and so, and kind of in American football, you don't get that.
Yeah.
So it means that every time a player is on the, so if you're watching football and you're watching an entire match of football, that means the entire 90 minutes you are seeing a sponsor either on someone's shirt or on one of the banners around the ground, and that means you don't need to play adverts in the same way because you're not being sponsored, because that's where your sponsorship is coming from.
Yeah,
potentially. Again, I'm not a business guy. Again, these things would be really interesting to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Nope. Oh, you're right. Your thing's going. You good?
Yeah. No, sorry. Just moving my setup around a little bit because I'm getting a bit cramped.
That's right. So yeah, that's the fan-controlled football league. Like, go and have a watch. Let us know what you think. I'd love to kind of chat more about it in the future, see if it's any good. I wasn't planning on speaking about it today either.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking about it. I literally just thought about it as we started the stream and just started talking about it. I watched the Super Bowl on BBC, which has no ads, and they had to analyse the game in place of the ad breaks, and they had to switch broadcasters when the commentators were advertising things. And that's the reason I watch it on BBC. Like you, obviously, Brits, we have to go to NFL Network or Sky, which is, I haven't tried the Sky broadcast. I don't know if Sky's the best. I don't know how good the Sky broadcasting is, but I love it on the BBC because, like you say, they actually analyse the game in the breaks rather than showing adverts, and it makes it more engaging to watch and kind of getting kind of ex-players and coaches' insight on what's going on. The best pancake topping is lemon and sugar.
Gone syrup.
I much prefer kind of less sweet on pancakes because it just gets sickly sweet after a while.
That's the joy. That's what you do. If you don't eat 5 or 6 pancakes full of golden syrup and chocolate and then feel sick, then you're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah, Matt's going with the chocolate or maple syrup. Good choices.
Yeah, maple syrup's good as well. Maple syrup's good.
See, I haven't watched the Sky broadcasts. I imagine they probably do a similar thing because they can't show American adverts either. But I don't know. I really don't know. I would hope. So what else is on the agenda tonight, Sam?
Well, we have to talk about JJ Watt.
JJ, so we're going to talk.
Also, thank you, Matt. The first thing we've found to agree upon. We have to talk about JJ Watt and the fact that he's left. I think it's the complete right decision.
As far as I'm aware, or as far as I've read, they let him go because he wanted to be let go.
Yeah,
which is just amazes me considering what's happened with Deshaun Watson.
So JJ Watt is that franchise's best player. I don't really think you can discuss that. He is their best player of all time so far. And I think they have to respect that. And they have to say, okay, we'll release you so you can form a new contract with another team. Because I don't think many other teams would actually want to trade for him, seeing as he had a really big contract.
They do pay Watt a lot.
Yes.
I don't quite
Yes.
know how much, but Sam the Statman, I'm sure, will find his contract for me.
Yeah. I'll get on that.
And whilst I answer Matt's question, that's exactly what my question was. I did not understand why they didn't trade him. And as far as
they were going to pay him 17.5 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
In 2021. And so I believe they can basically get rid of all of that by cutting him.
I think that
him.
I think that was part of it as well. So as far as I'm aware, the main thing was that he wanted to be released. He didn't want to be traded. He wanted to be released.
Yeah. And releasing him is great because it means he now has the decision.
Yeah.
Of who he goes to. Yeah. So it's not up to the organization anymore. It's up to him where he goes and what contract he signs. And it could be that he wants to go to a team with chance of winning titles. And at that point, he might want to sign a much smaller deal and earn less money just to go to somewhere that has that potential. Rather than that team not being able to pick him up because he's due 17 million.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, as far as I'm aware as well, there wasn't masses of trade interest because it was so kind of soon, if that makes sense. So they didn't put him up for trade, but also I don't think there was much interest in the fact that you're going to have to pay out a lot to get him. And it's a bit like the Deshaun Watson thing, is that there are teams out there that want him, but the reason that nothing has happened so quickly is, one, the Texans don't want it to happen, but two, there's like, what are you offering? What on earth are you offering to take that man away? It's going to be really interesting. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it. The big question is, where does he go? Great question. I reckon maybe the Seahawks, if they offer enough. I think Seahawks will be definitely one of those teams. I think you're on the right lines of the team that will go get him, or the team that will get him eventually. It's going to be one of those playoff caliber teams, like the Seahawks. Lots of people. Yeah, Steelers was going to be my next one.
Heard a lot of Steelers.
Go and join his brother, which I don't think it'll be Steelers because they run a 3-4. And he's very much your very prototypical 4-3 end.
4-3 end, yeah.
And so that's why I was like, Jaguars, this would just be a dream. But actually, again, it's 3-4.
He's not going to go to the Jaguars,
Packers again.
I can see that. And here's another reason for the Packers is that, well, he grew up in Wisconsin. His family's in Wisconsin. So he grew up supporting the Packers.
And also, didn't you say they may be switching to a 4-3 this year?
They might be. It depends on what our new defensive coordinator decides.
I mean, the league is changing, so like teams.
I mean, JJ Watt has good size, so he's 6'5", 288.
Yeah,
which is that is a 3-4 end size actually.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that actually nowadays the league isn't so strict with formations and positions and stuff. At the moment, it's more just who's on your interior, who's on your not your exterior. What do they call it? Your edge. So you have edge rushers and you have interior rushers or blockers and things. And it's whether, and it's more about, like you say, it's more about size as to what you want. So you could play 3-4. So typically in 3-4, of your 3 defensive linemen, the middle guy is massive and he kind of clogs up the line.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 other kind of rush defenders, and then you've got your 2 outside linebackers who do some pass rushing. And then in a 4-3, you've got 2 defensive ends who do your pass rushing, 2 interior linemen to do your rush defense and things like that. But nowadays it's literally just like, okay, how am I going to defend the run? How am I going to rush the passer? Who's on my interior? What size? What skill set? What do I want? And who are my edge guys and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, the Packers interior lineman, Kenny Clark, who's been really good actually, really solid. So he's 6'3", 314 pounds, which is kind of a good size for your interior lineman. And you get a player like Aaron Donald, who is playing a defensive tackle, and he's quite undersized for a defensive tackle. But he's 6'1", 280 pounds, so he's a good 30 pounds less. But he is one of the most dominant defenders we've ever seen. Yeah. And so it's not. And so nowadays not just about your size and your strength; it's how dominant and how well you can play there.
Yeah. What's your skill
And
set?
that's why, what's your skill set? That's why I think JJ Watt's going to be fine in a D end in a 3-4 actually.
Yeah. I think actually the Steelers might want him in there for some veteran leadership then actually, Tory.
Yeah, I did think that, but I can't see him going to the Steelers personally. I mean, both Packers and Steelers have problems with cap space.
Yeah. I meant to save a cap list. I mean, I hope he goes. Belichick will do something with him for sure. Patriots again it's going to be really interesting because I wonder, Matt. So the Texans have been to the playoffs and done okay in the playoffs. They just needed that extra boost to get them over the line. I'll be really interested to see whether he goes to a perennial playoff team like the Seahawks or the Steelers or who else are these kind of perennial playoff teams I'm trying to think of? Packers. I can't think. Rams maybe.
Rams, yeah. That would be scary.
Yeah.
Rams are in a worse cap position than Steelers or Packers, though.
But yeah, like you say, Matt, Patriots, Bears, Cowboys, fringe playoff teams. Will he be willing to go to another fringe playoff team, push them over the edge into the playoffs, and give them a chance? It would just be really interesting because he's been released, he gets the decision. It'll be really interesting to see what he does because obviously he wants to win a Super Bowl. Like he's an athlete, and he's a great one at that, and he's a great sportsman. Like he's going to want to win that Super Bowl. But is he going to want? It's going to be really interesting to see whether he wants to win that Super Bowl, kind of on a good team, or whether he wants to push a worse team to that Super Bowl. Because I think there's two things to that. Because I think that's what I found really interesting about Brady this year is that I don't think he cares how he wins them. He just wants to keep winning, and so he's gonna get onto a team that's already good, push them hard and then just push them hard to win it. And I don't feel like Brady's the sort of person who would go, I'm going to go to the Jaguars and push them to a Super Bowl. I don't get the sense he's that guy.
No.
Because he's like I said, that winning mentality. His winning mentality is so strong. He's gonna go to the team that gives him the best chance. Of course he is. But I wonder if JJ Watt is more of a sportsman,
JJ Watt's one of the best men we'll see, and one of the best person, whatever.
Yeah.
his character.
Yeah.
Is one of the best we'll ever see in the NFL. Yeah. Personally.
So I'm gonna look up cap space and go look for some.
I'll give you some names. Colts have a lot of cap space.
I do, yes.
They have 78 million cap space, projected, anyways. Washington have a lot. Broncos, Dolphins would be interesting. Chargers, Browns, Ravens, Bucks, Cowboys, 49ers, Cardinals, Panthers, Seahawks have some cap space.
Yeah.
Bills, Titans have very little, but they're not negative. But a lot of these teams will have to re-sign players as well. So the Bucks are projected to have 27.7 million cap space.
Yeah.
But they re-sign half their defensive players.
Sorry. Cowboys could do with another pure pass rusher. Tank Lawrence had a bit of an off season, but I can see him picking it back up.
He was okay. He's a leader, and you could see that.
Yeah. Do you think Washington are going to change their name from the football team? Yeah, I hope so.
They might.
After this season, it would not surprise me if they keep things as they are for another season. Because I thought uniforms were pretty sick, actually. I thought they were just a nice little bit of change, added a little bit more yellow. It was really simple. The badge isn't awful. It's really generic, yeah, sure. But the Washington football team is only an awful name because every other team has an awesome name. So I wonder if actually part of them rebuilding as a franchise, kind of with everything that's happened within that organization, is just actually give it a couple more seasons, and if people are kind of like, actually this organization is getting better, then it's actually like, actually let's stay to the flag that changed this organization for the better. I don't know though.
I mean, I have liked Washington football team, and I loved the little kind of retro looks that they've brought in throughout the year. I think they've looked incredible, and it's been really nice to see. And it's something that the Dolphins tried out fairly late in the season. They went into some like legacy uniforms, almost some like a lot of kind of older looks in their uniforms, and they looked great.
Yeah. Do you think? So great comment from Matt here. If Watson leaves the Texans and Lawrence does well at the Jags, are the Texans going to be the worst team in the league next season?
Potentially.
It'll be interesting to see what the Jets do. I think that's my only question. I think every other team, and so I think Lawrence onto the Jags is obviously a massive upgrade. I think Jags have enough cap space to go get some big name free agents as well.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
I think the Jaguars obviously improved from one win, and so then you've got the Jets sitting at 2. I'm really intrigued to see what the Jets do this year, because I think they've got a little bit of cap space. I think. Have you got your cap list up?
Yeah.
Where do the Jets sit?
75 million.
That's pretty good.
Before re-signing, but they don't really have anyone to re-sign.
And that's my thinking is where do they go at quarterback? Is it an upgrade? Is it not? What sort of free agents do they pick up? What roster changes do they make to improve their squad? So obviously I consider potentially one of the biggest free agents this season will be Shaq Barrett.
I think that he's going to be re-signed personally.
I agree, but I can't see how the Bucs re-sign everyone. It's going to be difficult.
But I think Shaq Barrett will be the big one that they try and hold on to. Actually,
they'd be stupid not to.
He's been incredible. Yeah, they absolutely would be. So Shaq Barrett is one. They also need to re-sign Levante David, Gronk, Ndamukong Suh. Yeah. Let's have a look. Keep on going.
It's a great question, Corey. Would Cam Newton go to the Jets? I am really wondering what. Well, we'll see what the Patriots do with Cam Newton. I think that'd be really interesting. I think they'd be silly to not try and re-sign him to a similar deal, because it was a nice cheap one. Even as a backup, like. I'm really intrigued because I don't hate Sam Darnold. I don't think he's an awful quarterback. It's difficult. It's difficult to judge that though with him not playing on other teams. Like it's interesting when you see other quarterbacks go to other teams and you're like, their entire scenario has changed. Are they still good? So Brady obviously proved that he's still good. Granted, his scenario was going into kind of one of the better teams in the league and one of kind of a really underrated coach in Bruce Arians. To try and think of other quarterbacks, Drew Brees did well at both the Chargers and the Saints. Peyton Manning did well at the Colts and Denver. More recently. Phillip Rivers did about as well on the Colts as he did at kind of Chargers as well. Trying to think of going through my head now. Kind of all the Fitzpatrick does relatively well wherever he goes.
Yeah,
Tannehill's done really well, and that's again that shows you a really interesting thing that a quarterback can do really well in the right scenario. And obviously he was at the Dolphins before they had a solid running back and a solid O-line. Over the last few years, Dolphins have drafted O-linemen. They've kind of had a couple of decent running backs come in to lower some of that load. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to know, and that's why I always say, kind of thinking of Sam Darnold, thinking of Gardner Minshew, thinking of partially of Drew Lock, not massively on Drew Lock. If a quarterback can do well, can win games at a bad team, they've got enough talent to play well in any team. Because if they're at a bad team and throwing touchdowns and doing well, then imagine what they'd be on the best O-line in the league, with the best receivers in the league, with the better coaches in the league, all of that. And that's why I've always said that Minshew is nowhere near as bad as people think he is, because he's on one of the worst teams in the league. If not, well, this year the worst.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing with Sam Darnold. I sort of hope he goes to a better team and finds a better O-line, better coaching staff to look after him. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets are smart, don't upgrade quarterback now. I know I said Jets and smart in the same sentence.
Yeah.
They've got to go next best player. Like if the Jags are taking Lawrence, you have the opportunity to go get the best non-QB player. And I would argue that the best non-QB player is better than the next best quarterback. So there's some debate whether the second best quarterback in this draft is Mac Jones from Alabama.
It's Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson from BYU. Or
Zach Wilson.
Who's the other guy?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields from Ohio State. None of them are as good as this kind of, I don't know, Penei Sewell, O-lineman.
Zach Wilson's looking good. I've looked at some of these, some analysis of these candidates, and Zach Wilson looks quite good. He looks really solid. The only problem is with his drop back. So when he's stepping back, he steps back with his right foot instead of his left, which I just realised is actually quite a big deal in quarterbacks.
Yes, because it changes it from an even drop to an odd drop.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, to make more sense of that, usually quarterbacks take an even number of steps backwards.
Odd.
Odd?
Yeah. So you hear of 5-step drops, 7-step drops. Those are your general drops backwards.
Oh yeah, because the lowest is 3-step, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so depending on what foot you start on, that will change the number, because you want to be able to land on your right foot if you're right-handed. Matt, I've heard of the rumors of kind of big kind of 3-way team swaps and things. I would not be surprised. Like from all I've heard from NFL insiders and rumors and things, there sounds like there's going to be a lot of quarterback changing, because there's an ample number of quarterbacks to choose from and to trade between. It's kind of
I saw someone suggesting a completely over the top 4-team trade in which Aaron Rodgers goes to the Patriots or to the 49ers or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, Aaron Rodgers goes to the 49ers. Jimmy G goes to the Patriots. Patriots give the Texans a whole bunch of picks. Deshaun Watson goes to the Packers. And there's a whole bunch of pick swapping between that. And I'm just looking at this and I'm just like, there's no way that anything like that's going to happen.
I don't think to that scale, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some swapping around. So I've seen reports that the 49ers want Kirk. And I think actually...
I can see that, yeah. I can see the QB swap there wouldn't be a bad thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings don't want Garoppolo. And then at that point, I wonder if the Vikings go, actually, let's see who wants Garoppolo and who do we want for... Or who wants Garoppolo and who do we want from them? And it's like, maybe the Texans then come in and go, okay, Deshaun Watson wants out. We want a solid QB to fill in. Garoppolo seems like an option that we can pick up and give a decent contract to. Are you willing to take Watson off our hands? At which point, the Vikings then kind of go, well, we've just given up Kirk. So that means we could potentially talk to the 49ers and go, actually, are you able to kind of send us a little bit extra that we can then send on to the Texans? And I wonder as well, because of these multiple teams and lots of trading across it, if it would make it easier to pick up someone like Watson. If Kirk's going to...
Yeah, I think it would.
Like, if Kirk's going to the 49ers and the 49ers need to send them like a second or a third round pick or kind of a couple of thirds or something, then you can then package those off to the Texans without having lost anything. Apart from, obviously, Kirk Cousins. But then, so... Do you think Jimmy G would leave the 49ers?
49ers have shown the QB isn't integral to their system, so that they can plug and play QBs and still have the opportunities to win. So I think he's not as important to the 49ers as other QBs are to their teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not up to Jimmy G if he leaves the 49ers or not. It's up to the 49ers.
Yeah.
It's up to the front office, to the GM, whether or not they get the value they want for him,
Yeah.
or whether they can actually trade him away, because he's shown he's not the greatest QB. He's consistent and he's decent, but he's not quite franchise worthy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really excited for the QB carousel. I'm really intrigued as to what's going to happen. I think Deshaun Watson
I just want it to happen.
I know. I'm just like sitting here, like waiting. Like I think they're all waiting for the start of the new league year, so that the new league year officially starts in March.
Yes. I
have a feeling that because it makes sense. Like they deserve a little bit of a holiday, but it's like we're literally just sitting here. Like they've already done
March 17th.
March 17th.
So a month tomorrow.
Yeah. But they've already started. Like you've already had the Stafford trade.
That Stafford trade was massive.
Yeah. Like why can't give us more of that? Like we're waiting. Yeah. Like this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. Like anyone in chat see Trevor Lawrence's pro day? That left me feeling pretty good as a Jags fan. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Wearing my Jags band tonight. Can't get on camera.
Oh, shall I grab my Packers hat?
Like the throws he made were just.
So from what I was looking at, he looked comfortable. He looked incredibly comfortable. I mean, he was throwing in front of scouts, but he's a big player. He knows the expectations that are on him, and he manages those incredibly well. He's a bigger man than his age suggests.
Yeah. It's quite considerable as well because he's slightly underweight. I know a lot of people are saying because he's having surgery, so he hasn't been able. So
he usually weighs in close to 230.
Yeah, and he was like 210 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 215.
Yeah. All that means is he's lost a little bit of muscle mass, which will make him less sturdy and kind of less athletic and not throw the ball as far. But
however, that is because he's not been able to lift any weights.
Yeah, because he's been injured.
He hasn't been able to do any squats, any
it's because he's bars or anything. So he had surgery today, I believe.
Might have been
surgery today on one of his arms.
Shoulder torn labrum.
And that's going to take 4 to 5 months recovery, which will put us just kind of into June, July.
Yes, you'll have surgery today.
Yeah. And so he threw off a scramble drill. So he's kind of moved. That's not just like a pure pocket pass. That's having moved a little bit and then on the move through, what was it, 60, 70 yards downfield?
Something like that, yeah.
Just
he has an incredible
unbelievable.
This is the thing that the Clemson scheme didn't have very many deep shots. No. So the Clemson scheme was very short passes, get it out quickly, let the receiver do a lot of the work. But you see a couple of these plays that Clemson had in which Trevor Lawrence has just chucked it up the field, and it's been incredibly accurate. And he still managed to get it like 50 yards down the field and right on the defender. And this is the thing that Trevor Lawrence did that no other quarterback in the draft coming up did. He managed to get those quick balls, those quick slants, the out routes, the short passes. He didn't properly chuck it at the receiver.
Yeah.
So he manages to do something he manages to get some touch on the ball, get some air under it, get it so that the receiver isn't having to receive bruises every time they catch the ball.
Yeah.
Which no other receiver in the draft, no other quarterback in the draft can do.
Yeah. Is that similar to some of Mahomes' long throws? Yeah, probably. I think Mahomes probably still got a stronger arm, but yeah, this is incredible.
Sorry, you just cut out there for a bit.
Oh, sorry. So I was answering Tori's question. Is that similar to some of Mahomes' long throws? Yeah. I think Mahomes still got the stronger arm, but
probably.
But it's still phenomenal. Yeah. Lots of people are comparing him to Josh Allen. Strong arm, good with his legs, strong-bodied, hair looking phenomenal as always. The funniest thing though, if you go back and watch the pro day, so the highlights are on NFL's YouTube channel. Really, really worth watching. Just maybe not the whole thing. The whole thing's like 40 minutes. Just kind of
half hour.
Watch it. Sorry, watch just like a couple of throws here and there. The funniest thing. Look for a guy in a white jumper. I think that's Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's the new
Yeah.
head coach of the Jaguars. He is standing next to Clemson's head coach, Darbo Sweeney, essentially the entire time. he is.
And I believe you were standing there for at least like half an hour before Trevor Lawrence went to throw it.
Yeah.
So they were standing there together for a good kind of like hour, maybe even hour and a half, actually talking about Trevor Lawrence, trying to get as much information as he could about him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think that's pretty kind of conclusive on who the Jaguars are going to pick. But and I really like that. I like that Myers kind of going. They haven't obviously said it outright because you don't want to say it outright, but he's learning as much as he can, and he's going. Yeah, I want to know this guy.
Yeah.
Like I want to get into this guy's kind of mindset and understand him, and because he's going to be our QB of the future. You get that sense anyway.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Minshew would win for most fabulous hair combined. I know, we're going to have the two greatest quarterbacks of all time. It's going to be so good. Interesting other Jaguars news. So they announced their staff. I thought their staff was looking pretty good. Lions staff is also looking pretty good. I saw the Lions release their staff list.
Yeah.
Lots of ex-NFL players on there. Really interesting. But then the Jaguars hired Iowa's ex-strength and conditioning coach, who was let go after claims of racism. And when they hired him, I saw Urban Meyer's interview. I saw Urban Meyer say, "We've vetted him properly," and that kind of said to me, like, if you know me, you know I'm a forgiveness guy. Give people a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance. Nobody's perfect. We all get things wrong. Everyone deserves a second chance. So I was kind of like, actually, okay, fair play, Urban Meyer. You've talked to him. You've talked him through it. That's a big deal. Okay. Then a couple of days later, he resigns himself. I'm assuming there was more criticism than I was able to see. I didn't see masses of criticism come out against him, just apart from it being slightly controversial. But the fact that he stepped down himself, I think actually says a lot about the Jaguars organization. That I feel if this was still the old Tom Coughlin days, they would potentially go, yes, we know this is controversial, but we're going to make it work. But clearly the state that the Jaguars organization is in is that Chris Doyle, this coach, doesn't feel like his presence there is doing good things. And so I feel sorry for him, but at the same time, your consequences.
It's a very big integrity move from him, actually.
Exactly.
That's that I don't want to take anything away from the organization.
That's what I was gonna say. I think actually it's a win-win for all parties. I think he's dealing with the consequences of his actions, and kind of deservedly so. But at the same time, like I said, forgiveness and all of that. That's a really big integrity move for him to step down from there. And it shows that whilst maybe the Jaguars organization themselves didn't release him, it shows that they are not such a troublesome organization that he felt he could stay. He actually felt that he was there making making problems. And so if he feels like he's making problems and leaving, that shows that the Jaguars organization is in a better place than it was before. So that fills me with hope. Yeah. Because Jaguars' organization has not been great for a few years. They've had some really toxic coaches and toxic kind of background personalities.
And it's why players like Jalen Ramsey and Leonard Fournette left, and why they basically let them leave.
Yeah. And so I'm really glad that sort of thing is turning around. That fills me with joy.
There's something I really like to see in clubs when a new head coach comes in or a new member of the front office comes in and decides we're going to change the culture here. We're going to make it upstanding and respectable, and we're going to make it a place that everyone feels comfortable and that everyone feels like they can work in this. That's what Ron Rivera has done an amazing job of in Washington, actually. Even while battling cancer himself.
That's why we gave him Coach of the Year.
It's just this culture change he's brought to Washington already. You can tell Dan Snyder's starting to do stuff because Ron Rivera's come in and has said, look, you've got to do some of this.
That's kind of crazy as well, because that's an owner. And that's an owner that's been kind of had lots of kind of controversy against him for various things that he's done and various things he's said. And the fact that he is changing obviously he's changing because of money, because the sponsors are making a big deal, but he's also changing because of Ron Rivera's influence, and that's crazy for that situation to be happening.
And I absolutely love seeing stuff like that, like someone being brought in and the franchise changing for the better.
Yeah, and it's like it goes back to what we were saying about sport. I've been thinking a lot, because obviously now that I do this, we talk about this regularly. I've been talking and thinking a lot about sport, doing research and stuff. One day I said to myself, well, what is sport? And I was kind of doing that whole philosophical thing. And I was just kind of saying, obviously one side of it, it's just pure entertainment. We want to see the best athletes in the world play a sport that we all love playing ourselves to the best of its abilities. And that is entertaining to watch. But I think there's more to sport than that, because then you would argue that how come sport hasn't died, because I imagine there's more money in television and Netflix and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason is because there's a real human element to sport. That sport by itself is exercise, and as human beings, we as much as we hate it, we need exercise to stay alive, to stay fit, to stay healthy. And so these sports stars are promoting health and kind of fitness in that sense to it. But also the nature of sport is making mistakes. Like your aim as a sportsman or sportswoman is to go and play the perfect game, because basically the number one rule as to who wins and who loses a game is who made the most mistakes. Because and that's a big set. That was a big thing for me watching the Buccaneers play, is that the Buccaneers weren't better than other teams, but they made less mistakes. That's why they were. That's why they won the Super Bowl. That's why they were the best team this year, because they weren't the most. They weren't the most talented team in the world. They didn't not all the time, and they didn't they
had their massive ups and downs.
Yeah, but more often than not, they made less mistakes than other teams, and there's something really human in that. There's something like, that's just human existence, isn't it? We live our lives trying to not make mistakes, and I think that's what's so beautiful about sport, and that's why so many people care about sport and love sport. Is it's not just entertaining. Sport is in essence what it is to be human. It's about fitness and health in terms of the physical side. In terms of the emotional and mental side, it's about trying your hardest and not always making it, about making mistakes and how you come back from those mistakes. That's why everyone loves the Alex Smith story.
Yeah,
because he came back from the worst injury of his life and one that almost killed him, and came back and was like, I don't care. I don't care about my injury. I say I don't care about my injury.
I'll come back. I'll lead a team to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go 5-1 as a starter.
Yeah, actually, you're right, Matt. I think my sport versus TV is probably, or versus Netflix and stuff is probably, actually my numbers are probably quite out there. But and so I think that's how sport gets better for me personally, is it accepts that human element and starts treating its sports stars and sportsmen, sportswomen as human beings, and not as celebrities. And that's why I really love all the amazing charitable work that so many sports stars do with their finances. So you think about all the amazing work that that LeBron does, and yes, he's got his own brand and earns loads of money around that and stuff, and that's slightly questionable. But at the same time, you can't deny that brand is doing amazing things. You look at the NFL, again, is not perfect, but the charity work it does is phenomenal. And you saw the amount of players that led Black Lives Matter marches for their teams, for their areas.
I mean, this is something that I do actually really appreciate about the NFL. Oftentimes that we criticize the organization for certain things, but one thing I love is the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. It's an incredible award, and it really highlights how many players are doing amazing things behind the scenes while still being incredible football players.
Exactly. You look at going back to JJ Watt and his hurricane relief efforts.
I was about to say that. Yeah, he raised $37 million for hurricane relief in the Texas area,
I think that's
which is
and I think
incredible.
that's how sports leagues will improve. Stop treating our sports stars like celebrities. Like yes, we should celebrate them because that's what celebrities are. Yes, we should celebrate them for their talent because they put a lot of work in and they try really hard. So absolutely, they should be celebrated. But also, they're just human beings, and we need to treat them as human beings. Like their mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes. Again, like that's the whole point of sport. Like if they make mistakes, it's okay. It's about how they come back from them. Like you don't fire a player for making mistakes. Fire a player because they didn't try hard enough to overcome those mistakes. And their attitude towards the mistakes. And also, like I say, put more into how big a role model they are. Like they're on a massive stage. What they do matters. Yes, they're human. If they make mistakes in their personal life, you've still got to treat them as human. Treat them how you would on the sports pitch. Again, don't blame them for their mistake.
Yeah.
Blame them for how they deal with it. As in, kind of. So again, what I mean is, if they make a mistake, you learn more about a person from how they address that rather than the mistake itself. Like, do they? Yeah. And absolutely, I agree. Actually, we take for granted some of those things in the NFL. That in the Premier League, there's very, very little of that. I have been really pleased to see though that the Football Association in Britain and in Europe is really cracking down on racism as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially in a lot of what was that game? Was it against not Bulgaria? I don't want to blame a country that's not fair. Where did England go that they had to stop a game?
It was, I believe it was Eastern Europe, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't want to judge a country just based on. Also, I'm not trying to judge a country, but just there was one game where the England football team went to another country, and
in 2019, Euro 2020 qualifier was halted twice due to racist behaviour, and that was versus Bulgaria.
Oh, it was right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the whole of Bulgaria. We're just talking about some stupid fans. And what I really loved actually in that is that the football associations are now putting in rules where it's like, actually, if you hear this stuff, the ref will stop the game. And I love that because again, it brings in that human element. It's like, actually, there are things that are bigger than the entertainment side of this game.
Yeah.
The human side is bigger than the entertainment side of this game. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just something I've been thinking a lot about recently and wanted to talk about. I hope people agree with me. Or if you don't, we're here to chat. Like, I've just hit my hand against the wall. It's something that's been on my mind. I think actually if more teams and organizations had that attitude, then maybe kind of sport would feel better with its controversies, with its celebrity status of athletes and things. It just but I'm very, very willing to have that. I think the fans need to be held to the same standards as the players. You're absolutely right, Matt. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think again,
I mean that's something I agree with. It's like we all need to be held to the same standard as people, as well.
Like you think about
not just as fans, not just as players, as people. We should all be held to this kind of same standard.
Yeah. You think about cancel culture and the people that are being cancelled for things that the general public does, but actually it's like I see a lot of one thing that's starting to bug me is people kind of blaming people for not wearing masks properly. Like I get it's annoying, and people who don't wear their masks properly are putting other people at risk, and it's annoying, it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, can we all say that we've handled this pandemic perfectly? Like I can say for certain that whilst I don't think I've ever, I would like to say that I've never worn my mask improperly, and I think I probably haven't, but I've probably walked too close to someone when I should have been 2 meters or something, and it's like you say, we need to hold the because the fans are as much an integral part to sport as the players are. Because if you've got no one watching them, what's the point in them playing? And so you're absolutely right. I think we need to start holding fans and players accountable for the same things, but at the same time have grace and compassion when we get things wrong, because we all get, like say, we all get things wrong. It may not be the same thing, but I don't go outside anyway, so I've done it. I felt some days I feel like that. I'm like,
I relate to that, yeah.
I probably would have stayed inside the entire day whether it was a pandemic or not. But
yeah. Knowing me, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, yeah. In other NFL
Ooh,
news,
go
on. For starters, Panthers released K1 Short today, which I think is it's a good cap saving move for them.
Did you hear about the?
And
go on, no, Karen.
Yeah, good cap space saving move for them. He can now pick a team he wants to go play with. I mean, he would be a good match for the Packers. He's a strong D tackle. Is good when healthy.
Yeah.
Sign him to like a 1 or 2 year deal worth what, like 5-6 million.
Yeah, I was going to say he'll be a really good veteran D tackle option for any team.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be teams will look out for him.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention, have you seen the Saints cap space things?
They've saved a little bit of cap space.
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite how much. They're still projected to be minus 65 million. But they've done a little bit of rejigging.
Yeah.
We mentioned Drew Brees' contract last week, I believe. Packers have reworked David Bakhtiari's contract, saving $8 million in cap this year or next year. They've basically, I believe, given it as a signing bonus rather than guaranteed money, or rather than the salary. So they've pushed his salary down, but boosted the signing bonus. And the bonus doesn't go towards cap as much, I believe. So it saves about $8 million in cap, which is massive.
Why? So Tori's asking, why would you release a player rather than trade a player? What are the benefits for a team? I think it's mainly just contract, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, trading a player, sometimes you have to hold on to a certain amount of that contract. Releasing a player, depending on how much dead cap or caps, or so a player will carry dead cap, and they'll also carry what was it? Also, they have a salary, and then they'll also carry a certain amount of dead cap, which isn't equal to their salary. I can't remember how it works out. But if you cut a player, they'll have that dead cap. And so you only cut a player if their salary is significantly more than the dead cap that they'll carry that year, so that you can still gain cap space rather than lose it. Whereas if you trade a player, you're still holding on to a lot of that dead space, actually. I believe it's like, or you might have to pay like a couple of signing bonuses.
I think you have. I think the rest of the contract comes into play when you want to trade them.
Yes.
So if you've guaranteed them money, then you have to pay that guaranteed money. I believe at least in some sort of dead cap space. So if you release a player, you pay them what they're earned for that season, and that's it. Their contract is then null and void. If you trade a player, depending on what your contract with them was, you are still in a financial situation with them. Even if it's not coming out of your pocket, it potentially is coming out of your cap space. I don't fully understand how that works. It will also depend on the trade itself. Like if you Jaguars, you look at the Jaguars offseason this year, they were kind of trying to trade loads of players and wanted more than they were getting, and so that's potentially why they released Fournette. And they was like, actually, we don't see any deal that we like, so we're just going to release him. So why would anyone bother trading them? Because you get things back. So I think the Jaguars would have quite liked something for Fournette, considering he's a Super Bowl winner now. But at the time, no one was willing to trade for him. And actually, really interestingly, you look at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were tempted to, I think I read an article, to cut him before the playoffs. Because he wasn't amazing in the season. Like, he was okay, but I think the Jaguars would be very happy to have James Robinson rather than Leonard Fournette in that season.
Okay, so here's another thing helping explain. So with the Jared Goff trade, Matthew Stafford, so the Lions will only be assuming the remaining guarantees on Goff's contract, which means that the Rams take a $22 million cap hit by trading him. but they earn 12 million in cap space.
Okay.
So they basically had to pay kind of 22 million in bonus money, or in like I believe signing
That's
bonuses.
why they gave the Lions so much, and that's really great for Watson because Jared Goff had such a big contract. The Rams had to give more than just. They had to give more than Stafford was worth, so that they would take on Goff's contract as well.
Yeah.
But actually, what's that?
However, the Rams have ended up taking this 22 million cap hit, which does earn them some space. So it gives them 12 million cap space.
Yeah, but what that means now is Deshaun Watson is looking at that trade, and or at least the Texans are looking at that trade, and if any team is like, we're going to pay less than that or that equal amount, then they're like, wait, you think Watson is equal to Stafford or kind of Jared Goff or something? It's like, so this deal I think is potentially the reason why nothing has happened with Watson, because teams are now like, it was like 2 first-round picks for Stafford.
Yes, 2 first rounds,
as well as
a third and
Jared Goff. And so, like any team now, it's like you've got to offer at least 3 first rounds or 2 firsts and 2 seconds or something to go get Watson. And it's like, Watson is a great quarterback, but you're looking at Trevor Lawrence being kind of obviously the number 1 overall pick. But the Jaguars aren't going to trade away 3 firsts or 2 firsts rather than just pick up Lawrence with that first.
Yeah, exactly.
There may be teams.
However, other teams would more likely do that because no one is quite as good as Trevor Lawrence.
No, but you look at Mahomes and he took a year off. If someone picks up Zach Wilson and has him trained for a year, he won't be better than Watson in 2 years, I doubt. But he, like we've said before,
Zach Wilson looks good.
Might play well enough at QB to win Super Bowls. And at the end of the day, would you rather pick Zach Wilson with a first or a second round pick? He'll be a first round pick, but
he'll be a first. He's the top 10
rather than trade 3 away for Watson, right?
Yeah.
He isn't worth that much, surely. He's worth at least 2 firsts.
He's worth at least 3.
And when we're talking about firsts, you've got to bear in mind who's trading them. So the Jaguars, with the Jaguars holding the first overall pick, the Jaguars are potentially the one team who could go to the Texans and say, we will give you this first overall pick and potentially something else. And
I would say for Jaguars, 2 first overalls is enough.
Because that first overall,
because they have pick 1
is Trevor Lawrence
and also
as well.
And pick 25.
Yeah.
Rather than a team like the Rams going, we'll give you pick 25, we'll give you pick whatever, we'll give you like 2 first round picks in 2 years' time. This would be the Jags going, we'll give you 2 first round picks this year, in which you can pick up a franchise player in Trevor Lawrence. And also at 25, there's still going to be some players on the board.
So, like, to put that in perspective, I was going to say, where did the Packers pick Jordan Love last year?
24?
So it's kind of that's what you're trading away instead. Like, when we're thinking of 2 first round picks, you're thinking of like Jordan Love and try to think Justin Jefferson. Like Jordan Love and Justin Jefferson.
26, sorry.
Well, I'm trying to think, what were 2 first round picks that were really good this year? You're looking at Justin Jefferson and Tristan Wirfs, maybe, let's say that. Because Tristan Wirfs...
Or if you're the Jaguars and you're picking 25 was kind of... it was around the Justin Jefferson sort of pick, I believe. And then you're also going to number 1 and you're thinking Joe Burrow.
It's like, would you trade Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson for Deshaun Watson? And I would go, you're starting to get there, but even then, I think Deshaun Watson's potentially better than that. I think you potentially have to then add in maybe not another first-round pick, but maybe a second-round pick. So then you're looking at a Laviska Shenault. And Laviska Shenault had a half-decent season this year. But then,
it entirely depends who is trading those picks.
And what kind
for
of
the Jaguars, I believe 2 first and a second for sure is worth enough.
Yeah.
Because they're picking first, 25th, and then second in the second round.
But I'm hoping the Jaguars
won't be
stupid.
Another team, it would have to be at least 3.
Yeah, but I'm hoping the Jaguars won't be stupid, because would you rather trade all that away for Deshaun Watson, who you know he's good, like great.
He's great. He's great.
First overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, who has lost 5 games over his entire career between high school and college.
He lost 2 games in college.
Yeah. he's won a national championship, lost in a national championship, and then lost in a semi-final. And that's all 3 years of his college career. Did he play 3 or did he play 4? No, he only played 3.
Played 3.
So
I believe he went like 35-2 or something, or 34-2.
Yeah. So that's saying those 2 national championship seasons he went undefeated, and then obviously lost one of them, won one of them, and then the one game that Clemson lost this season. Oh, sorry, he also lost in the semi-final, but the only other loss Clemson had this year, he was injured.
Yeah.
So I think it's just I think we don't know if he's going to be a good NFL QB, but you're just looking at that trade and you're going, even if he's not very good, it's worth it. It's
Nathan, you're older than Trevor Lawrence.
Ugh. Am I? Oh yeah, well no, I am.
Yeah. He was born in October 1999.
Oh yeah, he could be my buddy. I do like Trevor Lawrence. He seems like a really lovely guy.
Yeah. He does. He's getting married soon, actually, I believe.
Yeah. One of the funniest jokes. I've probably told you this joke before. Go look up the Instagram of him proposing, and like there's the top comment on it is his knee's not on the floor. He's running a fake. Like, it makes me laugh. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh.
There's more NFL news I wanted to share with you. Have you heard Vincent Jackson, former Chargers and Buccaneers receiver, died I think it was yesterday. He was 38. So he retired 2 years ago. And was found dead in a hotel room in Tampa.
Yeah.
So he played with the Chargers for 7 years and then the Bucs for 5, I believe. Three Pro Bowls. He was a good receiver in his day. So it's really sad to see that he's passed so young as well. So obviously we think about the family and everyone involved around that. So he had 4 consecutive nominations for Walter Payton Man of the Year. Which says something about the character of his character.
And I actually found this is a weird one, but there's a Instagram account called White People Humor, which I don't actually find that funny, funnily enough.
No.
But I saw his post about a private message between him and Vincent Jackson. So good evening, Kat. Actually, that reminds me of something else we need to talk about. But I'll get there. I'll get to 2 people. I'll get 2 people I've got on my mind. I'll get to talk about. Sorry. So kind of the guy who runs White People Humor sent a message to him. I can't remember when he sent a message or what he sent a message about, but sent a message to him. And it's because he followed him, and he was like, "I'm a massive fan," kind of fangirling about it. And Vincent Jackson actually sends him a message back and says, "Hey, I love your work. Like, keep doing what you do." I was just like, that's so cool for an NFL star to do that sort of thing. The fact that NFL stars kind of as great a kind of celebrities as they are, which again, like, should we give the celebrity status or not? Doesn't matter. They have it. For them to like do YouTube videos with people, for them to message people privately, for them to organize things that they do with other people. It's just absolutely crazy. Yes, Kat. One of them is Dak. There are 2 people. I'm going to talk about contracts.
Contracts. Okay.
So we'll go to Dak. So Dak's been franchise tagged, was franchise tagged last year.
Where is it? No, I lost it.
Big question. What happens now? Like, I think Dallas would be stupid.
He gets franchise tagged.
Yeah,
again.
I think he gets franchise tagged. I think they'd be stupid to not bring him.
Here's the thing that I've just found. That I found earlier. The franchise tag projected value for the franchise tag is going to be $24 million.
That makes sense to me. I would.
Which makes sense. So they're gonna franchise tag him again because they'll save money from that. Before they give him a proper contract. I can't see them hammering out a new deal soon, really. But Dak is not worth $40 million.
No.
Like he said, that's what he wants, but he's not gonna. He's not worth that, in my opinion. He's worth 30.
He gets injured.
35 at a maximum.
I was going to say I would put him between the 30 to 35 mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
I reckon he probably does get injured again. It wouldn't surprise me. And I wonder actually whether that's it. If the Cowboys are Cowboys, so the Cowboys are that smart or not? Because yes, I'm thinking contract will be 30 million a year, kind of more or less, and that puts him.
I don't think it'll be less than 30. But I think it'll probably end up being about 32, likely something like that. Maybe give him 135 million, 140 over the course of 4 years.
Yeah, which puts him kind of top 10 potential kind of.
Yeah, I mean that's a similar thing to what Deshaun Watson's earning.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say top 10. It's a little bit more than top 10, isn't it? Top 5.
Yeah.
Which. Yeah, that's why there's a lot of fuss about it, because he's a good quarterback, but he hasn't proven he's top 5 yet, and I think that's the difference for me. Troy's asking, is there a limit to a number of times you can franchise tag one person? No.
Don't think so.
But that's the point, is that franchise tagging, you're giving them more than, you're not giving them the big contract they want, but you're giving them some money and a decent amount. And
yeah. So let's put it this way. Aaron Rodgers got 35.5 million this year.
Deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Jared Goff got the same amount.
Which was not deserved.
Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins both got about 33, 32 million. Dak Prescott earned 31.5 from the franchise tag this year, and that's the 8th most of a quarterback.
I think that sounds about right to me. I think, yeah.
That's about right. He is not 40 million. The only quarterback who has pushed over 40 million, it was Patrick Mahomes, who earned 45.
How much did Wilson earn? And Brady?
35.
Okay.
Wilson earned 35. Big Ben earned 34. Brady, I think he earned like 25.
See, that's another reason why Brady's teams keep winning. He's willing to take a pay cut.
Yeah,
he's
25.
willing to take a pay cut for others to get paid more.
So Brady signed a 2-year, $50 million deal with the Bucs, which I think was really good, and it's really sensible deal.
And I think and like you say, Matt, Cam came on for $8 million, I think. So that was an unbelievable deal for the Patriots.
It was like 1.75. We've gone through this already, but yeah, it was 1.75 million.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe we said this last week, actually.
But this is why I think a lot of people are coming into contract talks, because if Dak gets paid that much this year and gets injured again, if the Cowboys are smart, they then go, "You're too injury prone. We need to go somewhere else."
Yeah.
Or they waste a whole lot of money on an injury prone quarterback, which is a shame, because what I want to happen is for Dak to have a great year this year, prove he's not only a top 10 quarterback but potentially pushing top 5. And get paid the amount of money that he's earned. That's what I want to see happen. But I have a feeling that, like Matt said, he will get injured and they'll still pay him the money, even though he hasn't proven it
yet. Jimmy G's on about 26 million this year. I believe he'll be set to earn about the same next year. So not 37. But yeah.
And that's why I think the Cam Newton thing, similarly, I think Cam Newton's played about 1.7 million again. And I think the Patriots would be smart to go, we're going to put you on that deal again. You have one more year to prove. I had to allow Kat's comment because there was hostility. And I'm feeling
yeah, sorry, I'm
feeling the hostility.
On my,
they won't trade Dak. It'll be whether he signs more franchise tags and whether they whether they decide to re-sign him or not, because whether they have the money and pay him that much.
I think they franchise tag him once more, and then he gets another year to go. Yeah,
I think this was going to
deserve that much money, and I don't think he'll. And then I think he'll go to another team because I don't think the Cowboys will decide we want to pay you that much.
Yeah, I think that's in it. Like this year was a prove it year, but obviously he got injured. I feel like if he had continued his run of form, absolutely they would have paid him. He was kind of 4 games, 16 touchdowns or something. Like it was crazy. So back to the Jags. No, well, interesting. If they didn't pick Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't hate that. I'll say that much.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad.
But so yeah, I think they franchise tag him again because it basically gives him that makes this year his prove it year rather than rather than last year, which it should have been. And I think the Patriots do the same with Cam, and so yeah.
I mean, yes. Sorry, we're talking about Dak and we're talking about the amount of touchdowns he had. He obviously played well. However, they only won 1 of their first 4 games,
which shows you that again, it doesn't matter how well your quarterback plays. Kind of winning a game is about more than having a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they played the Rams, they played the Seahawks, they played the Browns, but they lost all 3 of those games.
And they only beat the Falcons because of them forgetting how to play football.
Yeah. And so at some point you have to go to the Cowboys organization. You have to go, if you want to be part of the playoffs, if you want to make a deep playoff push, if you want to be considered a good football team again, you have to win these difficult games, these big games that get you to the playoffs, that show that you can do that sort of thing. And they didn't all year, and they didn't with Dak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing, is Cowboys need to play better defense. That's their problem. That's their biggest problem. And it's weird because they have.
I believe we've talked.
They have showed up in games, but just not frequently enough.
Yeah, they miss Byron Jones.
I said it was going to happen. Should have started this last year and made that hot take then. But yeah, and I think the same deal with Dak needs to happen to Cam. I think Cam had a bit of a prove it this year, and Belichick got to know him a bit better, and they'll get more of their Patriots players back. And I think they have 1 more year with Cam because I think Belichick should know what he's like and what he's dealing with now, and also get more defensive players back. And also you've had players like JC Jackson show up, so I can only see.
Yeah. I mean, also Belichick isn't the greatest at drafting, so you won't pick a quarterback until like 6th round, and so you won't play him.
I would not be surprised if Patriots get back to the playoffs next year. Just knowing Belichick, knowing the evil genius he is, I would not be surprised if getting some of their talent back, picking up a free agent or 2, playing Cam to his best ability, which means 10 throws a game and running it 20 times. I would not be surprised if that takes them to the playoffs.
Yeah. Decent cap. They're pretty good cap space as well. They're set to have 68 million cap space.
Yeah. Thoughts on Tampa Tom? Very different to Patriots Tom with cheating, etc. I don't know if I like Tampa Tom better or not. I kind of, it's fun. It's fun to see a different side to him. Absolutely. I think it's Jamie Belichick's dog, the mastermind behind it all.
Yeah.
I think you can still see Tom Brady in there. Like in every place he's been to, it's that winning mentality. It's that utter focus and just he's so like, it's just so impressive. And at the Patriots, it worked with Bill Belichick perfectly because they're both no nonsense, get it done. But that's the thing, is that then in the Patriots, it remained no nonsense into the offseason. But actually now Brady's kind of proven he can do it with another team. It's kind of like, I can do what I want now. And that's sort of, that's the thing, is Tampa Tom doesn't care. And part of me loves that. Part of that's really entertaining. But then part of me is kind of like, actually, lots of people do care. Lots of people really want that trophy. Like, like, just be... I think that's the thing that's always slightly bothered me with Tom Brady, is he does not seem grateful. And if I was... that really annoys me. And if I was in Tom Brady's position... I can't say I'd be any better a person, because I will never be in that position. So I kind of like hats off to him for accomplishing what he has, because I will never do that. I would like to think if I was in his position, I would be so grateful, because I would recognize that there are so many players and teams that worked their
Yeah.
butts off to try and earn that trophy and couldn't. And I just like
Yeah.
it. And this is part of where my kind of previous kind of Tom Brady bias came from. The way they treated their AFC Championship win over the Jaguars, they literally kind of passed the trophy on like it was nothing, the AFC Championship trophy.
Yeah.
And I was
yeah.
just like, the Jaguars players have worked so hard to be there. They are like the only like the second Jaguars team to get to the AFC Championship. It's like, and you're passing it around as if it's nothing.
Yeah.
But again, he won his 7th trophy. He doesn't care what I say. Fair play to him. Like, that's
Yeah. I mean, you can't fault how much he's done over the years, but it is. I mean, we really highly value that character over quality almost.
Then that's what I mean. Going back to what I was saying about kind of what sport is, and sport being kind of the essence of humanity, is that we don't just want to see good people. We want to see nice people.
Yeah.
We want to see like, and that's why I'm actually really kind of massive, a massive fan of Mahomes. Is that, and the Chiefs actually in general. Why I prefer the Chiefs being a dynasty over the Patriots, because they're just they're so, they know that they work hard and they're kind of, it's what's it that Kelsey quoted in their win, you have to fight for your right to party. And I feel like that's the attitude in Kansas. You've got to fight for the right to party.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and then that party comes because you fought for the right.
So I'd like to address Matt's comments saying that Rodgers was hinting at leaving. He wasn't hinting at leaving. He was basically saying it's up to the organization where he goes. And he hadn't been feeling a lot of love from the organization, with not drafting very many people to help him, not drafting any receivers, picking up anyone in free agency to help him out this year. So it wasn't that he was saying, I'm going to leave. It was him saying, it's up to the organization whether I come back or not. And he was kind of, it's always very bitter after a difficult loss where you haven't gotten much help from like the players around you, and that's what he has been expecting the last few years, and that's what the Packers organization hasn't done. And we haven't helped him out as we should, and kind of he rightly gets to vent a little bit about that.
Yeah. JJ Watt's the Browns. That's a team I hadn't thought about. That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. They've got a dangerous D-line already.
They've got plenty of cap space as well, so it is potential.
Yeah. That'd be really.
I feel like JJ Watt goes to a team because of the team rather than the contract. That strikes me as the person he is.
And that's probably why they released him rather than trying to trade him.
Exactly.
Because then,
So I see him going to the Steelers, to the Packers, potentially even Dallas. To stay in Texas. I don't really see him going to many other places because I feel like he's at the point in his career where he can go to anywhere he wants, and he'll take whatever contract he wants, purely to play for the team he wants.
Absolutely. No.
He's not going to go to the Bears. In my opinion, he's never going to the Bears. He grew up in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, you hate the Bears. That is just, you hate the Bears, full stop. And as much as you kind of grow out of those things, growing out of that sort of rivalry between the Packers and Bears, it just doesn't happen.
Whilst we're talking about the Bears, someone else thought we might talk about, Allen Robinson. Has not had contract talks since September, apparently. Kind of stopped following kind of Bears organizations on Twitter and stuff, and so I've talked about them. Really, really good wide receiver.
I think he leaves.
I think he leaves. I can't see him staying.
It sounds like he's been really frustrated with the organization, and with the team, and I think he just wants to get out of there. I can see him going back to Jacksonville.
I was going to say, I would not be surprised if he went back to the Jaguars. Jaguars are like, DJ Chark has been a great number one wide receiver. But imagine having someone like Alan Robinson in and having both of them. And then you've got Laviska Shenault, Colin Johnson, Colin Johnson, Keelan Cole, D.D. Westbrook, all of those guys playing in behind them. Just like that wide receiver core then looks stunning. Like
and if you go back to the running backs as well, you've got James Robinson there, and you've got Trevor Lawrence throwing to them.
I think the only thing then is a little bit of O-line depth, probably some starting O-line talent, and a backup running back. So,
I mean, when you next Jaguars pick at 25, so you could potentially pick up someone like Wyatt Davis at that point. He'll be available. Alex Leatherwood
potentially, if you
is likely to be available.
If you were feeling really risky, you potentially go early on running back.
Yeah, Najee Harris might
Travis
be.
Etienne.
Travis Etienne. Yeah,
I think that's probably too early for running backs. But Trevor Lawrence and
actually, I've got here that Najee Harris goes 18 to Miami.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, Miami need a running back.
Travis Etienne 23 to New York.
I would not.
I mean, Jackson Mayfield tackle.
Yeah, I think Jaguars
at 25 potential.
It's so difficult because I think the Jaguars need to go defense, but it's easier to like you say, if they go Trevor Lawrence and then running back, or offensive tackle or something.
I think they go O-line. I think they have to go.
If they go Trevor Lawrence and O-line, that potentially solves like their entire offense. Potentially.
Yeah. Personal opinion, it does. Your running game was good without your O-line this year. Or James Robinson played well.
Yeah.
Your quarterback game was a little inconsistent, so you pick up.
It was inconsistent because we kept choosing different quarterbacks.
Exactly, but you've got a new head coach in. You decide we're going to stick to the system. We're going to stick to one quarterback. We're going to stick him through the year, see how he does. He's a rookie, but he's one of the best prospects to ever come out of the draft.
Yeah.
Play him throughout the whole year. Let him develop. You don't care too much about your record this year. Get some O-line help.
Yeah.
To develop, and then you can build your defense back up to what it once was.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I think they'll probably go. I imagine they'll go free agency for defense anyway because they've got lots of cap space and there'll be lots of good free agents in there, and it'll bring some veteran leadership in as well.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much everything that we were going to cover today. So if there's anything anyone else wants us to talk about, I'm impressed that we had so much to talk about. We'll probably be fine this off season then if we have.
Yeah. We can talk about JJ Watt for half an hour.
Yeah.
Did you see Jason Sanders signed a new contract?
Yeah, big one. Big one for a kicker anyway. But I think that's right. He's
$22 million over the next 5 years.
Yeah, he's a good kicker.
Yeah.
And that's so funny, isn't it? $22 million over 5 years for a kicker. And we're talking about quarterbacks earning kind of 30, 35 million a year. It's just it's crazy. But at the same time, like he's deserved that contract. He's played really well. And I love the way Dolphins are playing special teams at the moment. Because it's
really good.
It bothers me when special teams aren't taken seriously in the NFL because they matter so much. Like your punter, the difference between a team starting on like halfway line and the 15-yard line is massive. That's 35 yards.
Sorry, you just kind of
Am I all right?
You disappeared a little bit for a second.
My apologies.
Back.
Blankenship is the GOAT. Blankenship's great.
He's great.
Yeah, absolutely great. But and so your punter absolutely matters. It's a massive difference because it forces the other team to go further every time, which can be the difference between field goal, touchdown, and not getting anything and stuff. Also, how your return game matters because it matters how close you get. But also, like you say, if you treat your kickers and punters as athletes, try more fake stuff. Just like I love the way the Dolphins are kind of creating trick plays that are working essentially every time when kind of going for two and stuff. Because if you bring your kicker,
just disappeared a little bit again.
I'm back. I think I'm back. Like if you bring your kicker and punter out, you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I love. Rather than bring your running back and your O lineman and all of that out, and you're like, okay, they've got three extra O linemen. I think they're running it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, the kicker and punter's out. What on earth are we going to do?
Yeah.
I love that. Who's the best punter in the league, and why is it Jake Bailey? Because he won Special Teamer of the Year or something. I can't remember, but he was great. When's the XFL coming back? I believe next
Spring 2022.
Yes, so another year. Sorry, we will do XFL. But Kat, in the meantime, you missed. We were talking about the fan-controlled football league earlier. Check that out. Very fun.
Yeah.
Give that a watch. It'll be. I enjoyed it. Also, I've decided, because I like their name, I'm going to support the Glacier Boys. Because why wouldn't you want a name like the Glacier Boys?
Yeah.
And the Glacier Boys themselves are polar bears, so love it. Is Nebraska going to have a better season this year? No. One, because it's Nebraska. Two, because their best player, Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, Luke McCaffrey, is transferring away. Mm-hmm. So no, they will not. Well, I say no, they will not. They've been getting better recently, so I would like to see that upward trend continue, because it's nice to see teams that did well in the past become good again.
Yeah. I mean, they're still a Division 1 team, so they're...
So they're doing okay.
They're doing okay.
The best thing happened this week or a couple of weeks, and we haven't talked about it.
Oh, what?
College football game is coming back.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, it's EA though.
Yeah. So we've got to be cautious. However, I believe we did talk about this a little bit, I think.
Did we? Oh, okay.
But if they just remake
Madden, it'll be awful.
No, if they just remake NCAA games, then it will be great. It'll be amazing. And if they it'll be fine. But if they keep that core, it'll be amazing, and I'll absolutely love it.
That's what I mean, is that EA can't go... This is the really annoying thing. EA can't get this wrong, but they will.
Yeah.
It's like, literally, if they make a copy of Madden, it's going to be awful. And that's how they'll go wrong. They own NCAA 14. Pardon me. If they copy that, that's number one, that's the bare minimum they should be doing, because that's copying a game they released in 2014, 2013.
2013, yeah.
Yeah. But the fact is, if they copy that, they've still then released a great college football game.
Yeah.
And
because that's one of the best NFL games, full stop, really.
And so that's why I say that they can't go wrong, because they literally get to copy a game that they've already made.
Yeah.
And that will still be classed as a good game.
Yeah.
And it's just, but that's the thing, is everyone's sitting here like, yeah, but they're going to remake Madden rather than NCAA. And it's just...
Yeah, it'll be a shame.
Who would you put on the cover?
Here's something I really want to see. So usually it was the Heisman winner that year, or the year before, got put on the cover.
Yeah.
So what I would love to see is all the Heisman winners in the previous years where there wasn't NCAA put on the cover of this one.
I think that makes sense as well.
Like
because...
Joe Burrow, I believe Christian McCaffrey?
No.
No?
Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Let me have a look at this.
I think it's going to be really interesting, because not all Heisman winners.
Yeah. So,
but also Trevor Lawrence never won a Heisman. So.
Yeah. So yeah, Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Devonta Smith.
The thing is, as well, though, a load of these guys are no longer in college football, and so it's kind of, I don't know. I didn't play the old ones, kind of, but we'll get there in a minute for Madden cover. I think Madden cover's pretty obvious, which is annoying, and I don't like it. But but NCAA, I would like to sort of see, like they do in Madden, the kind of the best current college player. And I think that potentially goes to Sam Howell of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Or...
Okay, so the NCAA 14 cover athlete was Denard Robinson.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who in is the best player in the NCAA right now. That you potentially go Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma's QB.
Spencer Rattler, he's good.
So yes, for Madden cover, it's almost definitely going to be Brady because
yes, it'll be Brady.
One, he's at a different team, which means yes, he was on the cover in Madden 18, but it'll be a different team, so it'll be different colors and all of that.
Yeah.
And also, they're doing this new thing where they're doing block colors. So they did yellow. I say they're doing block colors. They did yellow, orange, and then purple.
Yeah.
Kind of obviously Lamar Jackson, even though they didn't really do the block color. I liked the block color thing. Anyway, so it would make sense if it then went red for Tom Brady. And also a kind of Tampa themed Madden cover would be pretty cool. I was going to say Rodgers winning MVP to me makes the most sense because you've done Brady before.
Yeah.
So that would make most sense to me. But
here's one for NCAA or the college football. Go Derek Stingley.
Yeah,
Jr.
That's a good one.
He's been incredible. He's a true freshman.
Gosh. Okay.
And he's playing kind of lights out.
All the good players are leaving this year. That's why I'm kind of like, it's weird to have them on the cover once they've just left. But I agree with you. I think because we're getting a new one after so many years, I think it makes sense to have those previous guys on it. Like you've got to have Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence in there. You've probably got to have Tua, Jalen Hurts, kind of.
I don't think you put Jalen Hurts, to be honest.
I think his college career is just.
His college career was great.
Gronk's already had a Madden cover, by the way, which is why I don't know if it'll be Brady either.
He was Madden 17.
Yeah, it was Gronk 17, Brady 18, Antonio Brown 19, Mahomes 20, Lamar Jackson 21.
Yeah, 16 was Beckham.
Yeah. NCAA. National.
You've got the jersey for who was Madden.
I do. Eddie George.
2001. Yeah.
NCAA
George.
stands for National Collegiate Athletic Association, I believe. So NCAA is actually refers to all collegiate sport, so sport at the college level.
Yes.
And funnily enough, and I quite like this for American colleges. Their team names goes for the entirety of their sports program. So their football team doesn't have a different name to their basketball team. It's all the same. So if you follow them on Instagram and stuff, you have to follow the Florida Gators football team, the Florida Gators basketball team, the Florida Gators, etc. And I really like how that's all different. So at the moment, the Florida Gators are the best team in baseball at the moment, collegiate baseball. But obviously they finished kind of 8th in finished lower than 8th, I think, in college this year, actually. I remember Beckham playing. This is really funny.
Give me a second.
Beckham, everyone kind of this year and last couple of years have gone, Beckham's not as good as we think he is. But
Gators finished 7th, by the way.
Oh, that's better than I thought it did. Considering they lost their last 3 games or something. But yeah, Beckham.
Yeah. I believe they went 8-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, lost the last 3.
It wasn't great. Nathan Peterman for Madden 2020. Yes, let's have it happen. There was a stat line for basically since Beckham entered the league, no one has had more yards or touchdowns, I think, or something. I'm trying to remember.
So he's had 487 receptions, 6,830 yards, 51 receiving touchdowns, along with 2 passing touchdowns.
I'm trying to.
So he's been in the league since 2014.
Yeah, I can't remember the stats specifically, but those stats actually really, really good. That's kind of averaging 2014. That's almost averaging 10 touchdowns a season. Not quite. Actually, it's like 7 or something, 7, 8, which is not bad.
So he started off 12, 13, 10, 3, 6, 4, 3.
What always hurts my head is Hopkins was drafted earlier than him. I think Hopkins is... Oh, yeah, Hopkins as in...
Hopkins
is much better. But yes, Hopkins is older, isn't he?
His yardage may not stand... his yardage is much better. 747 receptions, 10,009 yards, 60 touchdowns.
trying.
DeAndre Hopkins has a knack for catching the ball.
But even then, like Odell Beckham's only 9 touchdowns behind him, and he's been injured for like an entire season. So
DeAndre Hopkins has played one more season.
Yeah, so it's kind of that's relatively impressive if we see him. I mean, what Raiders predictions was a great question. Super Bowl with John Gruden. This is partially why they gave him the 10-year contract, to give him time to build this team and get it into the position to win. I felt this year they should have been playoffs. They may just be 1 year off.
I think they're a quarterback off.
Be
that 4 or 5.
Well, you look at the Colts and what they did with Rivers. I think it's potentially. I think they just need to upgrade their defense. But I agree. I don't know if Derek Carr can win them a Super Bowl. But I don't think Derek.
That's why I say a quarterback off, because that gives time to have a couple of seasons with Derek Carr, see if they can make it, but then bring in a new quarterback and make it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think their Super Bowl window opens in 2 years' time.
Potentially, yeah. I think they've got 1 or 2 years from being kind of regular playoff contenders, because they've got a young team as well. Like, it's relatively young. So yeah, I can see that happening. Can the Cowboys afford to keep Pollard, Elliott, Cooper, and Lamb? They've given Elliott a big contract. Have they given Cooper his big contract? I think they have.
Don't know.
CD Lamb's a while off. He's got kind of rookie deal, so that's not a problem. Pollard maybe becoming closer to needing to be paid.
Yeah, I think they should, to be honest.
Interesting question. What is the best trade in the NFL? Any trade involving Randy Moss?
Yeah. Look up the Herschel Walker trade.
Also, like any team that Randy Moss went to, he posted an amazing stat line. And every time he went to another team, the previous team was like, yeah, his stats are declining, he's not that good. And then he would come out and play even better. So it's, any team that had Randy Moss. I think potentially one of my favorite trades is the Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson one. Because that was just so even.
Right. Okay. I'm going to give a little bit of background here for the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah, go on.
Which involved the San Diego Chargers at the time, but it was mainly between the Cowboys and the Vikings. So the Vikings wanted Herschel Walker, one of the best running backs in the league at the time. He still had a couple of years left, so I believe he was kind of like 29 or 28 at the time, I think. So the Vikings got Herschel Walker and a 3rd round pick from Dallas, a 10th round pick, a 3rd round pick the next year, and also a 5th round pick from the Chargers. The Chargers received running back Darren Nelson, I believe, from the Vikings. Yes. And the Cowboys received linebacker Jesse Solomon, linebacker David Howard, cornerback Isaac Holt, defensive end Alex Stewart. They also received 1st, a 2nd, and a 6th round pick that year, a 1st and a 2nd the next year, and 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd the year after.
Dang.
So that's for Herschel Walker, essentially.
How well did he play?
So he was one of the best backs in the league at the time, and he did all right. I mean,
Minnesota got to like 4 Super Bowls, so.
Not. The end result of the trade at the 1995 season. So this is kind of like 5 seasons on. Herschel Walker would only play 2 seasons with the Vikings, would fail to make the playoffs, then signed with the Eagles in the 92 season. So this trade was in 1990. So the Vikings made 0 Super Bowl appearances, whereas the Cowboys had won 3 Super Bowls in those 5 years.
Wow.
And had players such as Emmitt Smith come from the trade. So Emmitt Smith was one of those picks that they made. So basically, this Herschel Walker trade was what jump-started the Dallas Cowboys dynasty in the 90s.
I mean, if you're giving up that much, yeah.
So basically, they lost Herschel Walker, a good running back, and they picked up Emmitt Smith. May not have heard of him. League leader in rushing yards in his career, and he played it exclusively for the
for a long time.
Cowboys and retired when he was 34 or 35, I believe. Put that into context. Incredible running back Adrian Peterson He's had his injuries, but he's in his he's 36 at the moment, and he's 4,000 yards behind.
Yeah.
So, Emmitt Smith is one of the best running backs in history, and this trade kickstarted the Cowboys dynasty. So that's like one of the best trades for a certain for any given team ever. They won 3 Super Bowls off of that trade. Essentially, they drafted Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Minshew play in any games next year? I think Urban Meyer makes a decision. I think Urban Meyer will quickly kind of decide who's the better backup quarterback and then go with it. I think Minshew will be that guy, but we'll see. I think they're having all. I would not be surprised if Jake Luton's the one that misses out, because having Glennon as a veteran is helpful. He wasn't awful. He wasn't amazing, but yeah, having those 3 quarterbacks, I think the quarterback room in Jacksonville being Minshew, Lawrence, and Fishbowl makes sense to me. Will the Vikings ever win a Super Bowl? The fact that the Vikings kind of fluctuate, like they never go under like 7. I say they never go under 7 wins. They did this season, but the fact that they're constantly relatively good says to me that they will be back. But the thing for the Vikings in their Super Bowl appearances was always fantastic defense. Their D-line was once nicknamed the 4 horses of the of the apocalypse.
Purple
people eaters. Yeah, that as well. So
they were,
So once they get that back, and they do need to do some work on that, but that starts this off season. I think absolutely they'll get through it. The problem is as well, yes, they're in a division with a team that's been perennially good. So
sorry, Vikings fans.
NFC East predictions. Daniel Jones is a quarterback. Thoughts? I don't hate Jones. I just think
He needs to improve.
Yeah, basically. He's got... If by the end of his rookie contract he hasn't improved, he's gone. But I think he's got the tools to be better. I think they just need to get... I don't know who their backup is, but they need basically a better quarterback coach or a better backup QB or just some presence to help him turn over issues. Either that or get a better O-line quickly. Like, one of those 2 things.
Yeah, so I've mentioned this in a couple of group chats before. I think Washington win the division again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Washington win again.
I can only see them improving.
Again, they've just drafted Chase Young. Chase Young had kind of a mediocre season in terms of all pass rushes, but in terms of a rookie, 8 sacks, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty good. I think Dallas do come back into the fray a little bit. I don't think they make playoffs again, but I think they get second in the division.
I think it'll depend on how they draft again. So at this moment in time...
It will.
At this moment in time, Washington are the best team, I think, talent-wise.
Yes.
It will depend. If the Cowboys have a healthy Dak and Elliott and O-line throughout the season and kind of draft some defense, that makes them... What's the word? Competitive, thank you. There we go.
Yeah.
That makes them competitive. Eagles have got some things to sort out.
But... Eagles have a lot of things to sort out, including minus 40 million cap hit projection.
Yeah. But equally, if they sort out quarterback, their offense looked good last year. So it will just be about sorting out mainly, again, defense, and that makes them competitive.
I think Eagles come 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, I
think
don't.
It's Giants and Eagles.
Yeah, I think Giants. I think Cowboys squad, if it remains healthy, just needs a couple of pieces to be competitive. Yes. In general, the Washington squad is relatively talented, and is quite young and will only go up from here. The Giants and the Eagles have some major holes to fill.
And the Cowboys need to have a couple of holes to fill as well, and some older players that they need to replace, especially along the O-line.
I think Joan. Yeah.
So that's why I think Washington will win it or win the division. It's because they're young, and because a lot of the things that they need to deal with can be sorted throughout the draft, and because they have I think it's 40 million cap space. Let me just have a quick look here.
If the Giants...
Yeah, they have 40 million cap space.
Are you thinking Devonta Smith, Matt? for the Giants, because I think that would be a good pickup. That would be really good for them.
If he's available.
If he's available. Eagles, it's difficult because Eagles will have a good QB. They will sort out their O-line, and they have a good running back. I have no doubt of that. Whether it's Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz at tight end, they'll have a good tight end. It will be sorting out wide receivers. Zach Ertz going will be an issue if he goes. I have a feeling he will go, and that'll be an issue.
Yes.
That's another QB to throw into the mix, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. He'll go to the Colts or the Bears.
Devonta Smith falling to the Giants will be one of the biggest steals of the draft.
Yeah, I still don't understand why Jamar Chase is valued higher. I think it's because of whatchamacallit. Because Jamar Chase is slightly better height-weight ratio.
Makes sense. Yeah. I think
also surgery on Trevor Lawrence's left shoulder just finished and went great per sources.
Perfect. That's good. If we can get Zach Ertz in there, I think Zach Ertz is going to be one of the hot. Like this is so we were worried about things to talk about. I will prepare for next week the entire list of pending free agents, and we will go through it because there are some.
I already have it up there.
Okay, save it for next week. We will.
That's a lot.
We will go through it. There are lots of free agents. We may have to spend the entire time talking about quarterbacks to start, because actually, there's a whole bunch of kind of quarterbacks going into free agency, but also going into the kind of the whole QB carousel thing, which is going to be really exciting. But also, like I said, Zach Ertz on the market, so there's some tight end stuff there. Few O linemen, really exciting. JJ Watt and Shaq Barrett are just a couple of the defensive guys, defensive ends.
Leonard Williams.
If the Giants don't bring Leonard Williams back, that's a problem. Like he's been
they have the cap.
Like the Giants, did win games without them, but they won it on defense more than offense. Like Colt McCoy.
They might not have.
Colt McCoy played well, but that's the thing is he didn't play massively better than Jones. It's just he has less turnovers, and that's why I say the Giants need a better QB coach or offensive coordinator, Mr. Clappy. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because you need to sort out the turnovers.
Yes. We've already talked about Jimmy G trading, so we won't go into it now. Oh, have I just disappeared from stream? Oh, I'm back and I'm small. Oh, no, I'm back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try and sort you out.
I'm being cropped. I'm being cropped out of the stream.
I think I've got you back now. I say, oh, what's happening? This is so weird.
Oh dear.
But
yeah, no. So I've got a list of pending free agents, and there's 794 of them.
Yeah, we won't go through the entire list, but
no, because a lot of them are kind of like Daniel Carlson or
I think
Noah Brown, Jordan Evans, players you don't.
I wouldn't
know.
be surprised if Carlson gets re-signed though. He had a decent year at the.
I think
Raiders.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I can sort this by position.
Cool.
And
I think that would be a good place to end it, unless anyone wants to say anything else. And that prepares us for next week. Jameis Winston, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Jameis Winston a little bit more next season. Would not be surprised. I think. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Breeze. We'll talk about Breeze because his contract was redone as well. But
we talked about that last week actually.
Niners prediction: Niners will get back to being competitive as well. Like they'll get their injury guys back. Like it'll be Nick Bosa. Like we didn't realize how much of a massive impact he would make. So
yeah, they lost a couple of really good players.
Richard Sherman probably goes though. So
yes, he does personally.
Breeze, they've restructured Breeze's contract, so it makes it easier to cut him if they want to, but also it means.
Saves money if he retires.
So it saves money if he retires, but it also saves money if he stays on. So
yeah,
I think we'll talk about it next week, shall we? I haven't had pancakes yet. So, so happy pancake!
I'm gonna
happy
eat a whole
Tuesday,
tub of Pringles.
We hope you have a great week. Thank you. Thank you for joining us in this slightly different format. If you like this format, let us know.
Yeah.
I hope you liked the slightly more kind of interactive Instagram this week. I'm going to try and get kind of be more interactive, ask you guys more questions, kind of do more things.
Yeah.
And yeah, just if you like that, if you want, we're hopefully going to get Madden working against each other next week.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, come follow us on Instagram. We want to talk to you guys more, and we'll get more to talk about. And pancake topping choices, we've already done that.
Already done that.
Come on, Kat.
You have
Come
to
on,
watch
Kat.
the
You have to
stream
go
again
back.
if you want to see it. Come on.
And then next week you'll have to tell me what I said. No. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We love you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, even though it's a slightly different thing. I hope you liked it.
Yeah. See you next week. And as always, give us a follow and everything. And
love you all so much.
Yeah.
But, my camera's like here. Let's go. Oh, that's weird. Bye.
What's this? Bye.